This is the Pedal Brainz left brain bank overview. We're in bank 2, shapes. This is a bank of 10 modes comprised of different shape-related waveforms to control expression for effects pedals. We're in mode 1, Squarez tilt. This is a square wave type expression that gives you control over weighting one side or the other of the square wave modulation pattern. Knob number 1 controls the duration that it stays dark. As you turn it clockwise, it will stay bright longer, delaying how long it stays bright. Knob number 2 is the speed at which it transitions between bright and dark. So as we turn that down, we can see that begin to slow down. And knob number 3 is the dark duration. And so as we begin to turn that down, it delays the length of time while it's dark. And so this gives you control over both sides of the square wave, giving you specific control to set one part of that or the other while controlling the speed. This is mode 1, Squarez tilt. Mode 2 is Squarez random. Similar to Squarez tilt, but brings an amount of randomization across each of the parameters. So knob 1 still controlling the bright duration, knob 2 controlling the speed at which it transitions between light and dark, and knob 3 controlling the dark duration. Except now each of these gets a random amount added to it, resulting in a far more inconsistent pattern that still has some amount of control over each part of the waveform. It's been mode 2, Squarez random. Mode 3, triangle doubles. This is a double waveform pattern where one speed of the triangle is controlled using knob 1. One speed of the triangle is using knob 3, and the amount of time that it takes to transition between those uses knob 2. And so you can see as it bounces back and forth between one speed and the other speed, that we have transition between two different triangle wave shapes. That's mode 3, Trianglez double. Mode 4 is the Triangle Attractorz mode. This is a mode that constantly resamples the speed at which the triangle waveform will be modulating. Knob number 1 controls the maximum brightness. Knob number 2 controls the speed overall for the modulation. And knob number 3 controls the rate of change, so how often it will change to a different pattern of triangle randomization. With it all the way up, it's going to continuously be seeking a random speed for the amount of triangle randomization. Slowing it down will allow a speed of modulation to persist for much longer before changing to a different speed. That's mode 4, Trianglez Attractorz. Mode 5, Sawz Up mode. Sawz Up mode is a sawtooth mode that goes upward with control over the maximum brightness duration. So an amount of time where it will stay bright at the peak of the sawtooth waveform. Knob 2 is the speed that it will transition from dark to light. And knob 3 is an amount of dark duration that you can add at the end of the Sawz Up cycle. That was mode number 5, Sawz Up. Mode number 6 is Sawz Up Random. Sawz Up Random is the same set of controls as Sawz Up, but adds an amount of randomness to each of those, bringing a variability to the pattern of sawtooth. So randomizing that modulation pattern that rises over time and then sharply falls. That's mode 6, Sawz Up Random. Mode 7, Sawz Down. Much as you would expect, this is a sawtooth waveform that starts at its peak and then slowly falls. You have control with knob 1 over a duration that it will stay at its fullest brightness before falling off. You have with knob 2 control over how fast it will fall off. And knob 3 controls a dark duration once it's at its full darkness. These controls combine to give you control over the Sawz Down waveform of mode 7. Mode 8 is the Sawz Down Random mode, bringing all of the same controls across properties, but adding an amount of randomness to each of them in order to bring diversity to how that sawtooth down pattern works. That's mode 8, Sawz Down Random. Mode 9 is Sawz Random, and this is a mode that will continually randomize between a Sawz Up or Sawz Down pattern. Each time selecting whether or not it's going to go up or down. Continually randomizing. You have control with knob 1 of a amount of time where the light will stay lit, You have control over knob 2 about how fast it will rise or fall. And you have control over knob 3 of an amount of dark duration that it will wait at the end of the cycle. That's mode 9, Sawz Random. Mode 10 is Twinkelz mode. And Twinkelz mode is just a wildly evolving random pattern that you have control over the maximum brightness with knob number 1. You have control over the speed of the twinkling with knob number 2. And you have control over the fade speed of the twinkling with knob number 3. Again, allowing you to dial in just exactly the amount of randomization over time using Twinkelz mode on the left brain by pedal Brainz. We've been going over bank 2, the Shapez bank, and using the pedal Brainz left brain expression modulator to modulate the filter for the music.